Joining me in studio, unedited, is State Senator Greg Treat. He is the Pro Tem of the State Senate. Pretty much, he leads the chamber. Thanks for joining us, Senator.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I think a lot of people in Tulsa remember you as acting Governor Greg Treat from the Father's Day storm.
Yes, I was here and enjoyed being able to do my little small part and help out Mayor Bynum and as you recovered.
Has the communication issue from that storm that arose been addressed yet?
No, it hasn't, unfortunately. Myself and Speaker-elect Kyle Hilbert have a bill to try to address it. It's unfortunate we have to have a bill, but just to say you have to communicate, which seems like you shouldn't have to pass a law, but we're trying to now.
And the reason I asked, obviously we had these tornadoes recently, you know, we've got so much weather ahead of us, but were there lessons learned from that, obviously?
Yeah, I think the communication needs to improve, but I will give Governor Stitt credit where credit is due, and his OEM, or Office of Emergency Management Director, they have responded to the storms beautifully this time. We asked them on last Monday about, do you need any money? How much money do you need? Said 45 million, we're getting them 45 million this week, and we'll run it down the road.
I asked Governor Stitt about this in Barnsdall. Right now it's 45 million going all the way back to Father's Day. This could go up to 65 million when we talk about these storms, is that right?
Yeah, I'm not normally a blank check type of guy, but I told Governor Stitt in that meeting, you tell us how much you need, we'll write a check for it. Unfortunately, Oklahomans are very well accustomed to emergencies and to storms and to tornadoes. We've had two kind of quiet seasons the previous 2 years. We're experiencing a really busy season. Hopefully that will calm down, but we fully anticipate the cost going up over time.
And FEMA's not going to pick all that up, is that right?
FEMA won't pick it up, but the federal government does cover about 75%, but the state and local have to cover 25%. Traditionally, Oklahoma has covered 12.5%. The local communities covered 12.5%. A lot of these smaller towns that have been devastated recently just don't have the cash flow. So we need to get money to them quickly to front them the cash, and then they can reimburse us up to that 12.5%, and then we'll pay our 12.5%.
So that's just a small piece of the budget. We've been watching this budget battle.
Yeah.
How are things going? Are you confident you can meet your constitutional deadline by the
We
end of the month?
we will meet our constitutional deadline. We have until May 31st. Typically, we try to pass it at least a week before the end so we can override any vetoes the governor may have on line item vetoes. This year, it's become apparent the House will not override any gubernatorial vetoes, so we have all the way up until the deadline of the 31st to pass it. Not in a hurry. We are on a time crunch, but we want to make good decisions as well.
Where did this, and this is part of the, I've often said on this program, you have two parties in this state. You have Republicans and Senate Republicans. Where did the divide start in the GOP supermajority?
You know, it's growing pains. Democrats controlled our state for 100 years, and they had the same divisions. When you have a lot of control, there's 40 of 48 members in the Oklahoma Senate who are Republican, and 81 of 101 in the House. And so when you have that many people, you just can't give everyone a position. And there's it's a wide variety, diverse set of opinions. We're not nearly as divided as people want to. It's when you look at Twitter, when you look at social media, the things that get the clicks are the division, but we actually have a really united Senate. We have disagreements with the House and the governor right now, but it's a matter of degrees. We're all for tax cuts. In fact, we passed the largest tax cut in state history just 70 some odd days ago. It will go into effect at the end of August, eliminating the state portion of the grocery sales tax. So you'll see a 4.5% reduction on your grocery tax bill late August. That's about a $408 million hit to the state treasury. The governor and the speaker are talking about a bill that will be $809 million additional dollars, $809 million additional. We just don't think that's sustainable long term. We've passed income tax cuts. We eliminated the franchise tax. We eliminated marriage penalty tax, and we gave parental choice through a tax credit that's growing by $50 million this year. So Senate Republicans have been there on tax reform. We've led the way on tax cuts, but we've done it in a responsible manner.
I was going to say, when at the big signing ceremony for the grocery tax, it was, we're done. This is it. Are you not done?
We are. I think I've been very clear on that. Maybe the message hasn't been received. In fact, the first, quote unquote, I hate that it's called budget summit. It's a budget meeting. We have forced successfully Senate Republicans and actually Senate Democrats. We've worked really well with them. We don't agree on a lot of budget items, but we've worked together on transparency. We have forced these meetings to be public, live streamed. Everyone can see where our disagreements are. To call it a budget summit means like it's a one-day thing. This is an ongoing, we have to meet day after day after day. In fact, a lot of Oklahomans probably get bored with it because we're going to get in the mundane details of do we put 75,000 here or not. But it's important that we have complete sunshine on the process.
One of those who pushed for sunshine was Roger Thompson from Okema.
Uh-huh.
Was that a hard decision to remove him? And can you shine some light on why that decision was made?
One of the most difficult decisions I've made as a leader, and leaders understand that you have to make difficult decisions sometimes. Roger Thompson's a very personal, close friend of mine. I love Roger Thompson, still love Roger Thompson, still have a great relationship with Roger Thompson. The first 11 weeks, I've been pro tem for 6 years. He's been the appropriate chair for 6 years for me. But in the last 2 weeks, the House wanted to make this process go dark. And the only way we could get sunshine back on it is to shuffle the deck a little bit. Senator Thompson and Kevin Wallace, their appropriations chair, made some decisions on that week that I felt like we had to make a change. I communicated directly with him. I have nothing but positive things to say about Roger Thompson. Roger Thompson's been a tremendous fiscal steward. The reason we're in a good cash position as a state with record savings is in large part due to his work and the work of Senate Republicans.
I was going to say that I've heard it from Senator Thompson himself, and I hear it from other lawmakers. We're reaching a point where we get further and further away from the walkout, and people forget how hard that budget was. I think you even said it in one of the budget summit meetings. How is it frightening that we're entering this point where people are starting to forget?
Yes, it is. You know, I've been there because of term limits. The guy who I went after was Todd Lamb. So Todd Lamb got elected lieutenant governor. He still had 2 years on his term. So that special election I got elected, and I'm in my 14th year of service now, which is an anomaly in a term limited state. I've been through a $600 million shortfall, an $800 million shortfall, and a $1.3 billion shortfall. What you're seeing on TV today and live streamed of these budget meetings, you can just imagine the intensity when you're cutting $1.3 billion and you have to cut education, you're having to cut higher ed, you're having to cut transportation and or bond transportation to make ends meet. I never want to put a future legislature in that position. It's not completely within my control, obviously, but I'm going to try to leave it better than I found it. Senator Thompson and I were in those rooms together. I was in those rooms when we had to make really tough decisions on revenue streams back when Governor Fallin was there. Governor Stitt doesn't have that benefit. He came in after. He admitted he did not pay any attention to it at that time. But we are a beneficiary of a lot of that hard work we had to do in 2017 and 18, and I don't want to eviscerate that work. We've got to make sure that in Oklahoma, oil and gas is still king, and we still have a counter-cyclical economy. And so you will see us have struggles. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Hopefully those days are way off in the future. We've diversified some, but it would be imprudent not to be prepared for it. It would be extremely imprudent to overspend what we can afford.
Final question, are some of these budget proposals the same policies that got us into, because we've got automatic triggers, are you worried we're about to put in the same policies that got us into that mess in the first place?
We will not allow that. That is the proposal coming out of the House and the Governor. The House and Governor are one right now. Like, we talk about them like they're two different entities right now. I don't know where the House begins and the Governor's office begins, because even when we're in these budget negotiations, they all walk into the Governor's office. They come in together. The Governor moved his position and dropped off of advocating a quarter-point tax cut and went to the House's position to actually spend a great deal amount more money. So it wasn't a compromise with the Senate to be more fiscally prudent. It was going exactly to the House position of cutting out $809.9 million when fully realized.
Mr. Pro Tem, thanks for stopping by. We will have to wait and see how this final budget turns out. We will bring you that coverage right here on Fox 23 as well.